everyone, this is Lisa from TRW. In this video I'm going to show you how to make a rhinestone font work for what you need and also how to press it onto a custom bag. I'm even going to show you some things to look out for and a couple things that could go wrong during the process. So if you want to learn how to make a bag like this and avoid some mistakes that I make, just go ahead and keep on watching. Alright everyone, so I am in Silhouette Studio. I'm going to show you how to set up this font in both Silhouette Studio and also with Design Wizard so you can make this work. Now, technically this font is only meant to be a monogram with one letter, but you know, I didn't feel like accepting that limitation, and so I'm going to take this and edit the rhinestone design so I do not have any overlapping letters and I can cut it no problem. So right here I've typed this out in Silhouette Studio first. I did my first name, last name capitalized, and then middle initial over there. So I have that set up, and then I went to our sizing chart on our website and I typed in this font. It's called TRW Monogram 1 script. I set it to 493 point, so we can go over here and I have it set to 493. So what this does is it sizes my rhinestones to the correct size. Now this design does use SS10 and SS6 rhinestones, so I set it up to have my SS10 rhinestones at 493, and then the 6s, because they are paired together, will be kind of sized accordingly. Now here's the issue we're going to run into. If we look closer at our design, this is a mess, okay? These are overlapping stones. We don't want them. It's not good. So we need to convert our text over to an object, and we needed to delete these overlapping stones. Right now I can't delete them. These are basically built into the font. So I'm going to show you a couple shortcuts to make this work, and then we're going to edit it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my design and I'm going to convert to path. So what I've done essentially is what we had before is we had a text box and we had letters in there that made a word for all intents and purposes, but it was still text. So what I've done with convert to path is I've basically taken my text, still kept them grouped, but converted them over to an object. So with something like this, I can go right here, right click and ungroup, and now you can see each one has a box around it, so they've been ungrouped. And the reason why I'm doing this is I want to make these two letters right here different colors so I can figure out what's overlapping. So I'm going to make this like an obnoxious green, and I'm going to make this P probably just black or something, okay? And I can change this color, but with the M, it's not really doing anything, so I'm not really going to do anything like that. All right, so let's zoom in here. Now with my design, I want to make the P prominent in my design. So that means I'm going to delete rhinestones from the bottom L. So now that this has been converted to a path or changed to an object, I'm going to right click and I'm going to release compound path. Essentially what's happened right here is all of these circles are working together to make one big object. It's almost like doing a big ungroup in a way. I'm going to take these, release compound path, and now you can see each stone can be edited individually. So let's go right here, let's zoom into this section. So we have one right here that I can get rid of, just delete that one. I'm set with that one. I don't have to do much more editing, so let's go ahead, delete this guy. Something like this, you can see it's kind of barely overlapping. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna delete one of these SS6 rhinestones, bring mine back over this way, and then kind of slide these around to redistribute them, all right? So I think this looks better. You can always change it however you want. We can go back. I'm just hitting Control Z and seeing how this goes. I can also take this one, delete it, hold my Alt button, and put an SS6 rhinestone here, which actually I like better, so I'm going to keep it that way. All right, so you can go right here. Let's delete this guy. Let's delete this guy. And then honestly, for this design, I think I'm just going to grab the majority of this and kind of slide it down to make it easier to fit on there. So I'm going to just hold down Shift and grab a few of these, so I'm going to kind of distribute them. So let's bring that down, let's bring that over, and now I'm just going to kind of move my rhinestones in a way. So I'm going to grab these, hold down Shift, click on it, hold down Shift, click, 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 click. Let's go to our transform panel, and then I'm just going to use the spacing button here, do vertical spacing, and kind of just fix that a little bit. It's not going to be perfect, but it will kind of make them just a little bit more even, in my opinion. Right, so we go like that. And don't forget, this is a really big design with a lot of rhinestones, so you do have wiggle room in things like this. Like, it's not that big of a deal, all right? So let's get rid of this circle here because that's really easy to get rid of. And then with something like this, I'm going to delete this little guy and basically hold down Shift, grab all of these, and use my arrow keys to just kind of move that. And then I'm going to use this little green dot here to just move that to the side, all right? So you can see, it's not too bad. We're just making space between there. It's just, you know, a little bit of editing. Of course, when I get to the wizard, this section won't take as long, but don't forget something like this, you know, you put in a little bit more time at the beginning to edit it, but you have a super awesome product at the end. And especially if you're doing rhinestones, you're only gonna cut this template one time, so you can reuse this. Now, if you are making this to sell, you do want to make sure you are accounting some extra cost in your setup and your actual production fee, because one, this does take you some time to set up, but two, you are going to use a decent amount of template material, so you want to make sure you're not wasting your template material at least. All right, so we have this set here, and so with something like this, I'm just going to kind of take my stones and bring them up and adjust it like this. So we're gonna kind of set it up like that. Let's grab these little guys. Let's bring these up. So we're just looking for this curve. We're not going to reinvent the wheel here, but basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this to kind of still be a nice little design here. Oops, that one kind of rotated too much when I let it go. So we have this set up. Alright, so I'm going to finish editing this one up, and then I will be back to show you what it looks like. Alright, so I have gotten rid of all of my overlapping stones. I'm going to take my whole design. Let's just color this in black so we can see it. I think it looks pretty cute. And then I'm going to right click, make compound path. So one big shape, lots of dots, and then I'm all set to go. I'm gonna set this up, do my weed box around it, and then I will be ready to cut this with my cameo. So let me go over and I'm gonna jump to Corel and the Wizard and show you how to set this up in the Wizard. So I'm over here, Corel and the Wizard. Let me type my monogram, LPM. Oops, I have my caps lock on, apparently. All right, so we're gonna take this, I'm gonna stretch this out so you can see it, and now we're gonna go over, set this up. I'm gonna have this set up, and let's do TRW monogram. So we have this set here, but my rhinestones are not the right size. We're gonna go over here, resize our rhinestone design with one click, click right here. So it asked me, not all stones are 0.13 inches. Would you like to replace stones? I'm gonna say no. Basically, my SS6 stones are not going to be set to 0.130. So it's saying, hey, do you want your 6s to be resized to 10s? And you're like, no, I don't want that. So we'll go hit no. And so now we have our design all resized. We're gonna resize our workspace. And then again, we have these overlapping stones. So not a huge deal. I'm gonna select my whole design, and I'm actually going to mark my bottom overlapping stones red. So now you can see here are problem areas. So I'm gonna take this little guy, delete it, I'm all set there. Let's delete these. And so with something like this, I can kind of take my design, or let me hit back, and I can take my design, bring this over, and then I'm gonna hold down Shift and grab all of these stones here. And I am going to use my respace stone button right here in the Wizard. So check that out. So I've respaced it, I've created it, nice little space, and I'm gonna repeat that process right here. So again, let's set this up. Click, 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 click. And you can see, we've gone over, it's respaced it, and we're all set there. So I'm gonna kind of continue this on. You can see some of these, all I really need to do is nudge this over because it's not really gonna make a difference, and then set this up. So let's go ahead and do this. And one thing that I like about replace stones in the Wizard is that it kind of finds the curve that you're working on. In Silhouette, you can only basically go off of an X and Y axis, which gets a little bit tricky because if you have that curve, you kind of have to find a way to make it work. So we're just gonna kind of go through there, respace our stones. So check this out. See how my larger stones went up top? It basically just went in the order that I selected them. So I'm gonna go over here and start from the top, respace them, and then we're all set. So a funny little thing, if that happens, just redo it. All right, so let's go right here, and I'm just gonna fix these, and then I will be ready to set up my template and go. Alright, so I finished my editing. I went ahead and set up my template in the wizard. You can see I have this set up right here. And what I did is I made 2 templates. So this one right here is for my SS10 stones. These are for my SS6 stones. Now you can set up separate templates in Silhouette Studio. What you would have to do actually is you would have to basically find all of the SS6 stones in your design and either change the fill color or change the line color so that they cut in a different template. So with something like this, I would just go ahead and cut this all in one template, brush in your 10 stones first and then your 6 stones. But there's a couple different methods of doing it. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut my templates, and then I'll be ready to brush them in and put them on my bag. Alright, so now I am ready to brush in my rhinestones. So here's my workstation. It's just a little cheap chalkboard from Hobby Lobby. And I have right here my 2 templates. So I have one right here and the other right here. So I have these set up as SS10 stones and SS6 stones. Now, one thing to note, if you only want to cut this in one template, let's say you're a Silhouette user, you can cut this in one template. You just want to make sure you brush in your SS10 stones first, because if you do 6 stones, then they'll still fit in every hole here. However, SS10 stones are only going to fit in the SS10 size, not SS6. So that's a little shortcut that you can do, and it's a lot easier than having to like select each SS6 stone in Silhouette Studio and change the color, cut by color, all that fun stuff. But I went ahead and separated this, and so I'm going to go ahead and do my first set of rhinestones. These are my SS6 rhinestones. So I have right here 25 gross bag, and I'm going to do a whole bunch on there. So we're going to do that, and the SS6 stones are going to use each other to roll into the spots or the holes. And so I'm just using a light touch, gentle circles. I'm just going to kind of gently brush them in. So just so you know, because SS6 rhinestones are so light, you do want to have a really light touch with them. You may need to go in and maybe flip a couple over with your tweezers. No big deal. It's just one of the joys of having smaller rhinestones in your design. Not too bad. You can see I have the majority of them, so I'm going to go ahead, brush these to the side, and not worry about the fuss. I'm just going to use tweezers to get these last ones in because I don't really want to brush them anymore. I don't like it. Alright, so let's go right here. I'm just going to grab some tweezers and start popping these stones right back in here. So I have my little flat tweezers. Let me see if I can get you to see them a little bit better. So I like these a lot. They kind of let me hold my tweezers like straight on to whatever I'm working on to make it easier to move these around. So you can see I got some rhinestones under my template. Right, so I can just kind of go straight down, grab one of these guys, and place that in there. So I'm going to continue doing this, and then I'll be right back once I have all these filled in. So now all of my rhinestones are in the template, so I'm going to go ahead and take my brush and kind of move everything to the side. I'm going to clean these up in a minute, but I want to put my tape down first. So let's go ahead and go over here. Just be careful when you're brushing. Watch where all these little rhinestones go because they are smaller, so they can get caught in your brush. You want to make sure you get them all out. So we'll go to the side, and then maybe you'll see it. I have a decent amount still in my brush. So I'm just going to kind of tap that, get those out, and now we're ready for my tape. So I have here my acrylic Hotfix tape. This is not the same tape you use for like little decals for your car. This is made to withstand the heat of your heat press. So you want to make sure you're using this. So I'm going to cut a piece longer than my design. The reason why is I'm going to be using this as a hinge to layer. So I want to give that extra space for my design. So you have this set. Let's go ahead and take my paper backing. Here is my tape. So I'm going to smooth it down, and I want to make sure I have a lot of extra space on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead, put this side pretty close to my design, smooth it, and now you want to make sure you commit when you put this down. You want to keep it fairly tight. And I like to smooth it like this when I have a big design like this. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's smooth all of this. I'm going to smooth my edges too because I'm going to kind of just brush my stones around to clean them. So I want to make sure they don't go under my tape. Alright, so now let's just clean this up real quick. I'm going to use my brush, get these stones in a pile. So I want to get these off. Now if I were to mix my SS6 and SS10 stones, it's not the end of the world. I can use like a little strainer or a scoop or something and kind of just, you know, funnel them out. But it's never fun. So we're going to clean it up before we do our next size just to be safe. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier. I am using light pink stones. I think they're going to look really cute on the bag that I'm using. All right, and so I just have a couple in here. I'm just going to kind of pick them up, throw them in my scoop, and then make sure there aren't any in my brush. It looks pretty good. And now I can just grab my little bag that I keep my rhinestones in, and we're going to use this to clean it up. So right here you can see there's like a little spout in there. All my rhinestones go down in there. You can go over here. Take this little cork out. And now all my rhinestones are back in the bag. I don't have to worry about that mess. So let's set this to the side, and we are going to drop down our second template for the second size. Now when we're layering, the important thing to remember is that we want our tape to be in the same spot and our templates to be in the same spot. So I'm going to go ahead. Sometimes you have stones that don't just, you know, they don't want to come up right away. Totally fine. Bring your tape back down, smooth on it. So you can see I missed one here. That's fine. Bring it back down, smooth it, and you're all good. Now with something like this, what we're doing is we're keeping our tape in the same spot, and we're keeping our templates in the same spot too. So the way that this is cut is these boxes are the same size. So we're going to go right here. Bring this over and just smooth that down. So now you can see I cannot see the table through there. That's good. Wherever the table is exposed on the template that's below this is basically where a rhinestone is going to be. So if I can see the table through this one, then that means I have rhinestones sitting on top of each other, and that's not good. So I'm going to go ahead, dump my SS10 stones on here, and you know, I'll dump the whole bag. And again, just little circles, just a light touch. We're going to brush those in. So the way the template material works is it's raised high enough and the stones are slightly pointed. So if they're upside down, they'll just roll right back out because the other stones are kind of pushing it into the spot or rolling it out because it's upside down. So there we go. So pretty good. This is going to look a little bit, you know, wonky for lack of a better word because it's kind of accounting for the SS6 stones that kind of go through with the little swooshes. So I'm missing two. That's really easy. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my tweezers. I could take a little pile and drop it on top, but you know, not feeling it. I'm going to pick these up, bring this over. So there's one there. Then one there. All right, so we have that all set, and now this is the part where they just line right back up on each other. So for this, I'm just going to move these to the side, and I'm going to clean up the rhinestones after I put my tape down. All right, so when you're doing your second color or your second size in this instance, you want to keep your tape nice and tight. You want to have good tension, then bring that down. So now it lines back up. So one of the reasons why I did SS6 stones and then 10 is because 6 stones, since they are smaller, they don't go up as high as the 10 stones. So that means there was a nice good area for my tape to come down to pick up my SS10 rhinestones. Right, so we're going to take this, lift this up. Good, good, good. That's okay, I didn't make a mess. All right, so let's flip this over. And I'm just going to put my backing right back on it for now to keep it safe. And then I'm going to move over and take this over to my heat press. And now that I don't need this extra space, I'm just going to trim off this excess just unnecessary. I don't need it. So now here's my rhinestone monogram. Here's the template. I'm going to go over to my heat press and we're going to press it onto the bag. So here's my bag. I'm going to be pressing to this large one, but it also came with this little cute inside bag that I'm going to press in another video. So I found these bags at a trade show I was just at. It was a blanks company called Honey Bear Blanks. They have some really cute stuff. I really enjoyed the selection there, so of course I had to grab some and bring it back with me. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a pressing pillow in my bag. I want to make sure that the area that I'm going to be pressing to is raised up higher than the rest of it. I have this little strap and I have the little seam in there, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead, raise this up, and then just check to make sure I don't have anything in there. So it's pretty good. I have it all set, and I can also increase or decrease my pressure as I need it. So let's go ahead and turn this. I'm going to have this end part hang off, and so this is feeling pretty good. So here I have my monogram. I'm going to set it up right here. Go ahead and peel this off. Then we're just going to set it right on this bag. So I'm going to smooth that down. And actually, I don't super love this strap inside. So I'm going to kind of take it and let that hang out. But because I have my pressing pillow in here, it's still only going to press this part first. So we're all good. So one thing with bags I like to keep out for, this has a flat bottom. So that means the bottom of the bag is a little bit higher than you think. So I just want to make sure I have this centered and set up well. So this bag is like a cotton canvas, so it should be pretty easy to press to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover it, and I have my heat press set at 335 degrees. I'm just going to go ahead and do that for 15 seconds. And so I have a hard time closing my press. Part of that is because my bag is a little bit higher. I also have a pressing pillow in it to raise it more. So that means I need to turn my press counterclockwise to decrease the pressure on the press to make it so I can actually close it with the pressing pillow. So that's good. It had good pressure. It fought me closing, but I still was able to close it. So we're going to let this keep going, and then it will be set. All right, let's lift this up. Take off our cover sheet. And now let's see how these rhinestones look. So check this out. Some rhinestones came up with my tape. This may happen when I have something textured like this. So just lift it up carefully, and then we're just going to go ahead and close our press one more time. All right, so my second press is good, and my bag is all set to go. So I was able to press this monogram on here. Now, one thing to note, if you do get a bag like this, be careful with the straps. The straps do not hold up to heat very well. So let me kind of show you this. Oh, shoot. So, you know, ouch, a moderate success. So the bag looks cute. The straps, not so much. So it mainly worked. So you want to be careful with this. I would suggest making sure it hangs off the end of your press. Make sure that these straps don't touch the heat because they melt. Or we can do a shorter press with that. All right, guys, so here is my final bag. I think that the light pink rhinestones look really good on the blue. So one thing to look out for if you buy a bag like this specifically, these straps are not going to hold up very well to the heat. However, the monogram, because I have this template in Magic Flock, I can reuse it and place it on more and more bags. So I'll probably try it again with a different bag. But a cool thing, you learn something that works, you learn something that you don't. So if you like this video or if you learned anything, go ahead and give us a thumbs up. Make sure you comment below and tell us what you're looking for in a video or what you learned from this video. And we'd love to see you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss another tutorial.